Pepper Smith, Origins. Yeah, I'm really harping too much on My Hero Academia here. Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 12 Katy Keene chapter review, I hope everyone's doing well during this COVID pandemic. Hope everyone is fine. Hope you're all doing well. Or hopefully things will be getting better. So, it feels forever ago since I did a Katy Keene chapter review, even though it's technically only been a week. My weeks have been very busy, very long, as I'm approaching the end of my academic career at long last. This isn't how I want to end it, but it is ending, and I'm on the home stretch, so hopefully by this time next week, which will also conveniently be our season finale of Katy Keene, it will hopefully also come to an end, and hopefully things will be much better now and then. But before we get to that, we're talking about this week's chapter of Katy Keene, which honestly I think was a very well-crafted chapter. I believe it served fundamentally as more of a Pepper origin story of sorts, as we got to see more. This was mostly Pepper's episode to shine. We got to see her being the focus and everything that we've been building towards the last 11 episodes, the last set of chapters, has been leading towards this. Who is Pepper Smith? What is her motivations? Is she honest or is she a shady crook? We didn't know that, because literally the way that the show's been building this character since chapter 1 is that you get the allure that she is a certain thing, but as her character is, as we were figuring it out for the first time, that this was just mostly a facade to be able to advance her career and to realize her dream. And while this episode we finally got to see her dream beginning to happen, it did come at the cost of many different other avenues, and her loyalty and her person was questioned by her friends and everyone who's ever associated with her. And I feel like this chapter really made it strong, as it made for a great character episode, as well as a very as we get to the end of this, a very peculiar penultimate chapter towards the first season. But with enough being said, let's get down through the butchered recap, and let's see how Pepper Smith's origins held up. So we begin with another monologue by Katy that pretty much sums up that everyone has two different ways of how their life story turns about. One is the more glamorous, romantic side of things, I guess, and also the ones that are the more grittier version. And we are seeing, meanwhile, in this monologue sphere, we're seeing this very we're seeing something happening in a hotel building or just an apartment building, and a baby gets dropped off in the lobby of this apartment building. Everyone's surrounding the baby, as no one knows who's this baby, who does it belong to, where did it come from, that so to speak. And we see the doorman, which is not the first time we've seen this doorman before, and from then it turns out to be Pepper. It turns out to be Pepper. This baby was Pepper Smith. We apparently figured out she was an orphan, and that the reason why the doorman is her father is not because he's his biological father, but because he is her adopted father. Since I'm assuming that no one claimed the baby, he just adopted her, which I don't know how that works, really. I mean, I feel like there is a lot of paperwork to be done. I mean, again, this is all happened off screen, but it was just a little bit too convenient that this doorman became Pepper's adopted father. But again, I'm not going to brine too much of this shit. So we cut to the present day, where Pepper's delivering some donuts and coffee to the doorman, which we've seen in previous chapters. We're getting a little bit of catching up to them, as Pepper is describing how she's now a day away from opening, finally, the Pepper plant, something that we've been hearing about since the start of the show. And her father is finally able to get into the actual building he's been working for all his life. He's able to finally rent a small studio in there and put a down payment. So I'm not sure how that is. I think he's trying to buy the apartment. So that's great in hindsight. But again, this is New York, so I'm not really going to harp in about, never mind. I'm going to get into a very big argument if I speak anymore. So I'll just keep my mouth shut. So we cut to everyone else, where Katy and Guy are beginning their romantic relationship. So it's been some time since the Met Gala, and Katy's so happy that she's actually drawing potential designs for new dresses in front of Guy. Guy compliments her on one of the dresses she's designing, and they're both heading off to their own separate things. Her real job at Lacey's downstairs, and Guy had to go to a meeting. Josie is rehearsing with the Pussycats, trying to get ready for the big venue at the Pepper plant. However, even after a week, I'm presuming a week removed from the revelation that Pepper might not be who she is fully, Alex is once again pressuring Josie about, listen, because of all these shady accusations against Pepper, it doesn't make sense for me to continue having my investments tied up with her because, A, she doesn't really know what's going on. Well, he doesn't know what's really going on, and B, the fact that with him being cut off from his father and his limited resources being now tied into the Pepper plant, if that all just shutters apart, then everything, all his money has been lost. Josie's trying to see the benefit of the doubt and trying to convince him that Pepper will pull through for them, but Alex does not want to take any precautions, and he's even going as far as willing to admit that he might have to call the police on Pepper if he does not get his investments back. And Josie manages to calm her down. Also, another revelation is apparently, so from the Kiss of the Spider Queen episode, when Pepper is trying to get investment funding for the play, it turns out Pepper had actually diverted 90% of her investments into the plan itself and not really towards the play itself. So, a bit of a shocking revelation for both Josie and Jorge. So I think from then we cut back to the apartment where the Golden Girls are back reacquainted. Pepper's off dealing with opening night negotiations for the Pepper plant. Katy's trying to get is a little bit swamped at work, considering the fact she's still having to work at Lacey's and being an apprentice to Guy, as well as being in a relationship with Guy, and Josie with everything going on with her life. That Jorge has finally told them what had happened in the last chapter, that the things are not doing so well for Jorge's family as they own the building. It turns out they've been late on a lot of their mortgage payments, even with all their apartments rented, and that Jorge's actually been getting a very more minimum rent because of it. So now Jorge feels guilty and feels responsible, that he wants to help out his parents more by paying a fuller rent amount. But with everything going on, with life and such, it's not really working out to the fact that he's able to make more money. And I believe from there, so everyone's trying to share. This is all a very stressful time for the whole Golden Girls. They're all really doing something else. And Katy apparently decides to get Jorge a job at Lacey's. So let's just keep bringing everyone over to Lacey. Let's just keep tying everything together. It just makes more sense to bring more people in. So Jorge is being hired as a sales representative, and he's conveniently asking, when do I pick up my first check? That sort of thing. Considering the way how things are going to turn out at the end of this episode, oof, I really feel sorry for Jorge. So he starts his new job there, I believe. So Josie and Pepper have a conversation about everything going on, about Josie's questioning her about recent revelations, that she was married, about the Santa person, about, the shady diverting of funds from the play into the plant. And Pepper's just he's trying to, skimming the line a little bit, even though that Josie really knows the truth about her, but she's just trying to please her that, listen, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. Everyone's going to get their money back tenfold. And as Josie's demanding Pepper, she just gives back Alex's money and just cut the bullshit. Pepper just said, it's going to be fine. We're going to see tomorrow. Meanwhile, she does return to Lacey. She returns to Lacey to see Katy to get a new dress for the Pepper plant. She's seemingly happy, but then she gets a text reminder that Alex does want his money back. So, being kind of screwed against the wall here, she decides to take one of Lacey's prized resources, one of their prized inventory items, to potentially sell, which she sells it in a Chinese market for all intents and purposes. Yes, this is New York, so I am not completely surprised, to be completely honest with you. But so she makes the sale. She gets it half. She manages to sell for 100G, which is more than enough profit that she's going to get. So she's about to return the money to Alec, get that over with, and then start focusing on the plan again. Meanwhile, Katy's being grinded by her fellow former rival / co-worker / I don't know what to call this lady anymore. She has a name, but I don't remember the name. Well, actually, no, another thing that Katy was going through is that Katy actually found out that Guy made a dress similar to the one she drew earlier, and now she's kind of, a little bit blindsided the fact that he may have taken her design and is trying to pass it along as his own. So it's a bit now. It's another bumpy road between the two of them, and but also she's dealing with the whole now this very expensive rare purse is now missing. They got to find it, and she's also grinding her about Pepper because for her, and convenient enough it is that Pepper would be the one to steal it. She has all the motivation. There was prior instances when she told Katy about the whole sugar daddy episode near the start of the series and her returning her clothes for the money. Well, she tells Katy that, as well as telling her that, hey, listen, if she told you she was living at this hotel, she doesn't. It turns out that she doesn't live there, and she's also barred from the hotel. So things are not looking too good for it. And Katy returns back to the other girls to tell them about these revelations, and they all start comparing notes that Josie does admit about what she knew about Pepper, about her shady shortcomings, about all this. And also, Jorge finds a mugshot picture of a Pepper in another name. So things are not turning too well for Pepper. They're really not. Also, another thing that I should note is that I don't think we're there yet. Actually, I think we might be. That Alex has waited long enough. He decided to return to his father to kind of figure out what to do with this sort of investment he made and trying not to get screwed over for his financial shortcomings. We'll figure that out a little bit later. But so Pepper heads back to the Golden Girls' apartment, where she immediately gets accused of everything. Everyone's telling her, you need to explain this, you need to explain that, and Pepper is, for all intents and purposes, trying to blame this on Josie because she's, again, the new girl. She's still the new one in the group, so she's trying to put all the blame on her, all the accusations, but it's not working because everyone knows the truth by this point. And Pepper, being grinded, does decide, and also another thing is that Jorge does figure out the play diverting funds, and he is insulted. And also another thing I did realize I glossed over is that besides Jorge being a sales representative, being a ginger at Moxie's, and also being a bartender at times, he's also a go-go dancer. And he's been making bank. He actually gives his dad a huge wad of cash, regardless of his macho-ness trying to reject it. He does accept it because he knows, given the situations he's in, he's gonna need the money. So back to the Pepper interrogation scene. Pepper does promise them, listen, I'll get your purse back. I'm gonna help you guys out. It's all gonna work out. The Pepper Plan's not just my dream, it's also investing in all your dream. So you need to be patient. But Katy obviously sees past her BS and goes to confront her one-on-one, where Katy starts pressuring her and Pepper starts slowly admitting the truth to her that, listen, I didn't have a great life. I don't know my birth parents. I have an adopted father who's a doorman at an apartment building. And also the fact that I've been doing all this to be this character, to be this persona, to help you out in your dreams. And it's kind of a it's kind of a tear-jerking moment because Katy and Pepper have known each other for so long, and the fact that this had to occur and this is tearing them apart, it kind of hurt to see a little bit, especially when Pepper cried, because we never see Pepper cry, and the fact that she cried in this moment was indicating she has done a stupid mistake and she has to fix it. So Pepper goes out, tries to buy the purse back, but it's already been sold. So she decides to sell her own Gucci dress to get some more money to get the purse back, which I'm assuming she didn't, as well as she actually wired money over to Jorge's family to help them out with their back mortgage payments, which also Jorge's father actually discovers through being a go-go dancer in private during a dance. And he tells her, hey, listen, your friend Pepper, she actually managed to help us pay off our mortgage payment, the ones we owed before. However, because of everything going on with the building, the whole city wants the block to be sold, and they want them out in about 3 months. So, with all this, the Golden Girls are, also another scene is that Katy actually does go to confront Guy about the whole potentially him taking her dress idea, and he's immediately trying to scoot this under the rug, hey, listen, when I was starting out, when I was an apprentice to someone else, I saw him taking my design so much, and I always felt respected that he is seeing my work in value, that he's actually taking the idea and making it a reality. So I feel appreciative of that, and he was kind of hoping Katy would be the same way. But Katy immediately sees past that and decides to go through looking for his secret little nook and she manages to get it open, and she discovers other sketching journals from other apprentices he had, and she realizes that this isn't the first time that Guy's been doing this. So somebody's really helping Guy. So anyway, back at the apartment, Jorge tells them that they have 3 months to move out, that they have to find a new place. So things are not looking so well for the girl and girls, as their entire lives are now just being uprooted by the recent events. But they decide, even with Pepper's recent contributions to Jorge's family, that she's still not forgiven, and they still need to go to the Pepper plant and confront her, see how it turns out. And so we finally get to the Pepper plant opening night. We're finally here, and the first moment we see is Alex being drunk as hell, telling Pepper, "Hey, listen, don't worry about my money, because guess what? You're a Cabot Industries acquisition, so you're owned by Cabot. So every money you're making goes straight to the Cabot Industries." So, oh boy, but Pepper can't really jostle on this too much. So she sees the Golden Girls, and she actually was honest to her word that she was showing them what she's been building for to them, as she shows Josie the stage that her and the Pussycats will hopefully be playing at for a very long time to come. She shows Ginger the connections that she's been looking for, and she gave Katy a private showcase corner for her dresses. And it's actually pretty heartwarming that despite Pepper's faults, despite her mistakes, she was honest to her word that she still came through for her friends. And even though her and Katy still have like another new ways to go to kind of recover their trust, this was a right good step. And also Pepper introduced her to her dad, and also KO was there. I love KO. He just makes cameos whenever the hell he wants anymore. I love it. And it kind of felt like KO, like, no offense to the actor, the way his voice was projected, like, oh, is KO even there? Is he kind of like a spirit right now? Is he just being projected? And also, he's just not wearing a suit, so okay. But he's also trying to tell Katy, hey, listen, this should be a great moment for you, as your work is being showcased to many people. And also, Katy tells her about the Guy revelation she figured out, and KO's like, listen, this is what you want, and if these are your designs, you should fight for them. And I can't do it for you anymore, but you have to do it for yourself. So I'm loving KO. I still love KO even after they're not even dating anymore. It's awesome. But before we get to that, Katy spots her coworker / business partner / whatever you want to call it. She shows them, and apparently she tells her that, hey, listen, don't worry about the purse. It's taken care of by HR. It turns out Lacey's is being closed down. So while I'm thinking of the actress's name, while Katy is dealing with this very shocking revelation, Guy conveniently comes in, and immediately Katie's pushing him away. That, listen, this isn't the first time you did this. I found the journals. I found you were stealing other people's designs. And Guy does the very stupid thing about admitting it at first. Like, he's actually trying to explain himself to Katy. But before we can get to any of all that, the police shows up and they arrest Pepper for what? Who knows which one specifically? Because she has broken a lot of laws. She's not gonna survive well in prison. So she gets taken away, as nearly every single character on the show just watches idly as Pepper, even with a smile on her face, gets walked away by police, not knowing what charges she has against her. Just leading us off on a cliffhanger as we are left hanging for next week's season finale. Sorry about that. Sorry, that was kind of disgusting. You saw the tea drip out of my mouth. Sorry. I'll cut that out probably. Anyway, so I love this chapter. I really did. It definitely felt like Pepper Smith's origin story. It definitely felt like this was a great episode for her as a character. We really got into the core of who Pepper Smith is, and I appreciated it, as well as advancing all the other storylines, slightly small, step by step. And I really love what they did with this. It definitely set us off in a very interesting direction where to go. Like, what's going to happen with the girls with their apartment? Is Alex rebounded? Will Katy figure out how to deal with the Lacey closing down, and also Guy's, revelation? And is Pepper going to get out of jail? That's going to be the question. Next week's finale has a lot of questions to answer, or at least set them up to a direction where we do pick up with season 2. Hopefully later on in the year, maybe even next year, that we'll be able to get those answers to those questions. But hopefully things will be all right. Hopefully, This is definitely more of an upbeat, optimistic show, so hopefully things will bounce back from here. But again, for me, 2 thumbs up in my books. Great episode for Katy Keene, and I think that's going to do it for me, guys. So if you were unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to know what we do overall on What's on the Tube, we do the rookie episode reviews each and every Monday after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC. And we are currently doing one-offs here on our Thursday time slot. We did Jane the Virgin, Brave series review last time, and next week we're doing As Told by Ginger series review. Those are both going to be fun. Leading into our brand new sub-series of episode reviews, DC Stargirl, which will be starting up in a couple weeks, so which is also going to be premiering on the CW and on DC Universe, but that'll be more on that later. But if you only care about Katy Keene, we do Katy Keene chapter reviews every single Saturday after its brand new episode on Thursday nights on the CW. Next week is our season finale, meaning that, as per usual, on our shows. So what we're doing is that next week we are doing the season finale review. Week after that we're doing the season 1 review, and then after that we'll be doing a season 2 predictions, hopes video that I've been doing for the sub-series reviews for the last couple ones. So hopefully that'll keep going, and then after that I will announce the next show we're going to be doing, or the next series we'll be reviewing on the Saturday time slot, which, spoilers, at the time of this recording, I have not yet picked out what show I'm going to be doing just quite yet. I'm tinkering with a couple of ideas, but that'll come up as May. But if you don't care about Katy Keene, we're on every Saturdays. So again, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to ActionX on YouTube and ring the bell for notifications when we have a new episode review live, as well as like, favorite, and share this episode review if you want to. It definitely does help us out, as well as follow us on our social media feeds. And for you Golden Girls, I'll see you girls, or gals, or guys, or just anyone who watches. I'll see you guys next week for the season finale review. But until then, peace out.